So in this session we will be talking on Upadesha Saram. So Upadesha Saram. Saram means essence. Upadesha means teaching. So Upadesasya Saram means the essence of teaching. And this text is being written by Sri Ramana, popularly known as Ramana Maharshi. Before going to the text, let us also little bit dwell upon Sri Ramana Maharshi. He was a very recent person because he left his body 14th of April 1950. Our day-to-day life. And people, those who are surrounded with us, surrounded by us. With reference to speech, with reference to talking, we can divide into three categories. One group of people, they don't have anything to do, they keep talking, they keep chatting. Because they cannot keep quiet, there is nothing to talk, but still they have to talk. In fact, present day, whether it is social media or television or print media, they do nothing, just this, they do this job. Because they feel if they don't talk, they don't have any presence. That's why social media or any media, they impose thinking or imposing that we are the fourth pillar of this society, as though this society cannot survive without fourth pillar. Remember, in three pillar also a building can survive now. Technology has changed a lot, okay? We don't need this, media people at all. And imagine if there is no media, country will be better. The world will be better. And it's very rare to come across a media person also who work for country or society. Always they work for their pocket, okay? To there have name, fame and whatnot. You cannot think of what a dirty game. However, the first category of people, they talk, there is nothing to talk, but they talk to make sure that they are alive, they are important. They pretend that they have something to talk, they are knowledgeable, blah, blah, blah. Second category of people, they have something to talk and very carefully they do talk. If you observe those people, when time demands, situation demands, they do open their mouth or else not necessarily at all. They are happy with themselves. And third category of people, they have plenty of things to talk. They have a lot of things, but they choose not to open their mouth, not to talk. And here Sri Ramana comes under this last category. He had plenty of things to talk, but he chose to keep quiet. That was his uniqueness. That was his greatness. But there is a problem. That also you have to understand. Or else it's a disaster. If you observe, especially in India, as I have observed my childhood, anyone is being brought up, especially in villages, that too in a let us say, orthodox way or in a cultural atmosphere. Few things comes without the person's knowledge. I have seen being brought up in Odisha, of course in Tamil Nadu also it was there, now it has been reduced. Because this Sri Ramana Maharshi, popularly known as, please understand, popularly known as Sri Ramana Maharshi. So we'll hold Ramana Maharshi. So he was born in Madurai of Tamil Nadu, which is called as the cultural heritage of Tamil Nadu. In fact, the language of Madurai, what we call Tamil, is one of the old language, ancient language we call. Actually, Madurai is the hub of language, the center of language. Okay, there are a lot of confusions, let us not get into that. But, so being the cultural heritage of Tamil Nadu, and this young boy called Venkat Raman, his name was called Venkat Raman, being born and brought up in an orthodox family. And of course, interestingly, that's the best part is, if you are one child, you are gone case. So if you have got more siblings, don't worry. Automatically you will have vairagyam from the childhood itself. You don't have to worry. So he came under that category, okay? So he was second child. As he was growing up, definitely he had a very good exposure to sadhus. Not only he had exposure to the sadhus, he had also picked up some sadhus language, because we have sadhu language, okay? And especially in Tamil Nadu, you have to pick up some sadhu language. Without that, you cannot survive. Because that is the most confusing place in India is it called Tamil Nadu. That too with reference to sadhus. Because this color, everybody puts. One group of people go to Ayappa, they put this dress, they pick up this dress and they call Swami. All people they call as Swami. Swami Saranam. Then they will give up, throw that cloth. So for 15 days, 1 month, like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, they take the vow. So they become Swami. So you cannot recognize who is Swami, who is Asami. I am sorry to say. There are a group of people go to Palini. So during that time, Murugan temple, during that time they also take up this cloth. So you cannot make out who is what. And of course another group called Melmarvutur. So those group of people also pick up the same cloth. So for a common person, it is very difficult to recognize who is what. And of course, present day, the dangerous part is the Christian missionaries. Now they have picked up this cloth. Now in fact, they are being dressed in this way. And they are called as Acharya. And that is much more dangerous thing, which is not supposed to, they are not supposed to do it. In fact, they do Avishekam. Instead of, because a Swami generally in South India and that to Tamil Nadu, the person of Swami means it mostly is related to Lord Shiva. So Shiva means Avishekam has to be done. So what do these people, Christian people, they are doing it? Now they have Jesus idol, like Lord Shiva. So every day they are doing Avishekam on it. And the mantra they are chanting in English, sometimes Tanglish, means Tamil and English, being chanted in completely in tune with Rudram and Chamakam, Vedic mantra of Lord Shiva, let us say. which is much more dangerous. You cannot believe it. So, coming to the point, now to become a Swami in Tamil Nadu, so you have to pick up some language. Unless you have some language, really you cannot call a Swami. Just mere dress is not enough. It is not now, it was earlier, and this language was being picked up and it was being used very carefully. So how the language goes? We have, in all over India, we have a sadhu language. For example, never ask a sadhu that, where are you from? Is wrong, is rude, okay? So you have to ask, where from your body come? So you say, आपका शरीर किधर का है? So the body from where, from which part of the India your body come from? Means where you are born. You cannot say where are you born? No. Where this body was born. So we have a different language. आपका आस्थान किधर है? You don't ask, where is your ashram? It's very rude. That means you are not cultured, you are not exposed to this tradition. You need to talk in such a way that you not only learn from the person, also you are getting polished. So there are a lot of tricks and techniques while talking to sadhus. Not simply, hi Swami, like with you, people do with me. Okay, but it's not allowed, it's not right. So, same thing also with reference to food. For everything there is a style. And of course, in South India, it was there earlier. Which is being reflected. Because that is what they say. Suppose any sadhu, yeah, they said, yes, this body is going. Always, they do address with third party. And of course, here, Venkataraman, being a child, had picked up all these styles. Remember this point. And it is very clear as his life moved. Definitely he had some insight. As he was growing up, he had near to death experience. I think when he was studying in 9th class something, so during that time he had some near to death experience. And something really was very exciting for him. And he wanted to dwell upon that experience again and again. So when he started dwelling upon those experiences, now he became distracted. Even though he was studying those days in missionary school, Christian schools he had studied. 2 schools, both are Christian schools. So then finally what he did, some money was being given for giving the tuition fees. So from that money, because those days Arunachala, what present day called Tiruvannamalai, so Arunachala was very famous. Especially Deepam time, everybody used to come, every sadhu used to come. So all over Tamil Nadu, during Deepam time, 15 days before, whole Tamil Nadu focus was only on Arunachalam. So being a child, he has heard from somebody Arunachalam. Then he was fed up because he wanted to have experience again and again. Now family people also got upset. What is going on? In fact, one of his brother also said openly, hey, if you want to go somewhere, go. Why are you wasting your time? Yeah, out of anger, out of frustration, said. And he took this as a signal. So what he did, whatever money was being given for tuition, so he took little bit money. He must have asked some people how to go to Arunachalam, what to do, what not to do. So how much money is required, train ticket. So based on that, what he did, he kept that much money from that tuition fees, rest of the money, and he kept a note. That is, the note was, this body is going, this is going, this is going, okay, not I am going. So like that, because he had picked up some language, because minimum thing he had understood, that to understand the self, I need to annihilate ego. Please understand, I never use this word annihilation and all this thing, but today I have to use it, okay? And he had this idea. That's why from the beginning he did not use the word I. And of course, he walked away. After coming to Tiruvannamalai, of course, he got down one place, then walked and whatnot. Because those days Tiruvannamalai, I think, was not there. Up to Dindigul, I think it was their train line. So then he walked and whatnot. So he managed to reach. Then after reaching, again it shows that he had some samskara and he was aware of this teaching tradition. The sannyasa tradition, instead of teaching tradition, sannyasa tradition, I would rather say. He was aware of sannyasa tradition. How? So as a young boy, Venkatraman came to Tiruvannamalai, Arunachaleswara temple. So there is a tank as you enter left hand side. So what he did, first he shaved his head, removed, and he had his punal. Punal means the sacred thread. So he threw the sacred thread, means technically sannyasa. So that means he was aware of sannyasa tradition. How to be a renunciate without help of anybody, anything. So there things went wrong, definitely. Up to this it was great. So then what he did, he threw and he became, let us say, self-made sannyasi. Then, of course, he must have moved around in temple and people must have seen big as a young boy moving. So they must have called Venkatraman. From Venkatraman, he became Ramana. So as a young boy, from Venkatraman to Ramana, he became. And interestingly, there was one called Patala Lingam, means Patala Lingam is a small lingam. There are many lingas, many Shiva lingas over there. So one place he was sitting for a long time. As he was sitting for a long time, because as I told you, he had experience, near to death experience. And he wanted to repeat that. That's why he left his house. Now here there is nothing to worry, nothing to bother. Nobody is there to disturb you. Nobody cares. And those days, huge temple, nobody was there. Very few people. So then what he did, this Patala Lingam place was abandoned. There was nobody. A little down, you can go down. Nowadays they have done nicely. So he was sitting there for a long time. Meanwhile, he lost his body consciousness. So what you call as, he had nirvikalpaka samadhi. You can use this word. Very carefully. So he could dwell upon, he could reinforce the experience what he was looking for. So as he had nirvikalpaka samadhi, again remember, experience oriented, that's the problem. Then of course this news started reaching, because young boy is sitting there and already ants started eating, he is not moving. There was another great Swami to whom I really respect personally, called Seshadri Swamigal. So he was really a very local person, and he was really a great yogi. And he was called, then of course he knows how to bring back, because getting into nirvikalpa samadhi, anybody can do it, okay? It's like, you can do the fasting easily. Anybody and everybody can do fasting for long fasting, no problem. But how to come out of fasting, you should have knowledge, you understand? If you do not know how to come out of long fasting, it will complicate. You may die also, you understand? Quickly hungry, drink some water, and then after that eat something. What will happen? You know better. So if it happens with reference to liquid food, imagine with reference to breathing pattern, with reference to prana. So getting into nirvikalpa samadhi is easy. But to come out, you need the help of an expert. Or else it is disaster. Luckily, Sheshadri Shamigal was there. So he could bring out. In fact, he acknowledged that this boy is a great person. Then only after that this Ramana Maharshi came up. That Venkat Ramana to Ramana, again Ramana becomes Ramana Maharshi. So Maharshi means the one who is a visionary, a Rishi, Mahan Rishi. So one who is a visionary, a saintly person. Then later on, as he was sitting, but deep within, always he had thought that he wanted to dwell upon same experience, because again he was experience oriented person. In fact, in his teaching, if you look at, as he started growing up, because being young boy sitting and people came to see him, then slowly people not only called Ramana Maharshi, some people started called as a Bhagavan. This is the problem started. So he became God. Some people say he's avatar of Murugan, because people have something to say. So all these stories was being built up. However, when the ashram came, if you observe this particular point in him, and people started calling him as enlightened master, because that is none of our business. Please understand, I am very clear, because nobody can say who is enlightened and who is not enlightened. We can give benefit of doubt, but we cannot certify that this person was enlightened and not enlightened. That's really called conclude, very, called concluding, but judgmental, being judgmental. So we are not going to talk that aspect at all, whether he was enlightened or not. But if we look at his work especially, that much we have to say very carefully. So where very much clear that he had a very good grasp of the subject. There is no doubt in it. Especially if we look at the text called Saddarshanam, and of course this Upadesha Saram we'll see in details. In Saddarshanam, the points that he has highlighted, definitely he had a very good grasp of the subject matter. So Vastu Jnanam, if we talk technically, Vastu Jnanam was there with him. There is no doubt in it. But with a problem. Because all the time he brings this vinasha, annihilation, destruction. So the destruction of ego means it shows that he had a Vastu Jnanam without pramana buddhi, without this methodology of teaching. That is the disaster in his life, I am sorry to say. Great person, everything was great, but because he was not exposed to the teaching in a systematic way, because he did not have a pramana at his disposal to explain, that's why many things went wrong. In fact, in Upadesha Saram itself you will see, he has jumped in many places. Unless and until it is being taught by another acharya, it will be another disaster. But text is very good, but you need to fill the gap. Then only one can understand what he wants to communicate. Or else it is really very confusing and misleading. So here, just I would like to highlight, when Ramana Maharshi started growing up, that's why also another incident happened. Ashram started coming up. First he was staying in a Virupaksha cave, in a cave on the hill. Then slowly he came down, now present ashram. So moment he came down, his mother joined with him. That is the, I am sorry to say, this is the disaster's first step. Then along with, after that, I think younger brother joined. Then they tried to bring up ashram. Then when ashram started growing up, there was a small dispute in the court. whether the ashram belongs to the devotees or the family. Then Ramana Maharshi was being summoned, and of course he was a great person. He did not go to the court. Then court came to him during those days. And as usual, Ramana Maharshi said, this ashram belongs to the family. So presently, if you go there, that ashram belongs to his family, which is again another disaster, lack of traditional teaching. So this Vastu Jnanam was there, but right time Vastu Jnanam did not work, I am sorry to say. He may be great, because when you have left your house, you say there is no ahankara and all these things. Then again, whatever came up, came up because you are somebody, not belong to the family. So why did you again hand over to the family? So till now the ashram belongs to the family, the trust, family trust and whatnot is going on. That's why in that ashram, teaching is not allowed. And the worst part, they made it because of all this confusion. Because even though the scholars were there, some impact was their teaching impact was going on indirectly. After this conflict, this family people made sure Ramana is exclusive. He is Bhagavan, he is exclusive. You don't need any scriptural study. And he had one unique idea. This is what problem went, which is good, nothing wrong in it. If anybody would come to him, ask him, what is God, for example? He will not answer. He will say, okay, who is asking? Do you know who is asking? Who is asking this thing? Who wants to know? Do you know that person? So always what he used to do, he used to divert the question to the seeker itself. That's why he could convert many curious people into serious. So whoever has come, he has asked question, hey, who is asking? Ask that person. But what happened? He could convert many curious people into serious people. But these serious people remain serious and nuts. That's why if you go there, you can see nuts are hanging around over there. If you go there for 5 to 10 days, I am not telling you jokes. You will go crazy if you stay there for 5 to 10 days. For 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, excellent, okay? You must go, really worth staying there. But more than that, I am sorry. Because I don't want to talk other aspect of it, which is not right, because he is a great person. Let me not talk in details. But what I am highlighting here is, because of lack of exposure to the teaching, this is the point. Because even though he had Vastu Jnanam, please understand, the subject matter was very well known to him. He was very clear. There is no doubt in it. Because that is reflected in the teaching. But because of the lack of exposure to the teaching, things went other way around in his life. In fact, when he was being alive, things went other way around. And of course, after his death, he became an icon, but nothing moved. So it's become a pilgrim place, that's all, nothing else. So it very clearly shows that to have Vastu Jnanam, please understand, that one can suddenly stumble upon because of a previous karma. This is to take home, okay? What we call as a jata smaraha, what we call as yoga vrashta, we have different terminologies. Jada Bharata was called jata smaraha, or yoga vrashta, you can use the word. So because of a lot of things that I have, or the person has done in a previous life, because of that reason, one can stumble upon knowledge. And stumbling upon and getting connected to the knowledge, also because of prarabdha it can, and purusartha you can also getting connected to the knowledge can happen. But because of lack of exposure to the teaching, what we call as methodology of teaching and teaching tradition, when that is lacking, definitely the person without knowledge, the person will create a conflict in others' mind. That's why if anyone reads Ramana Maharshi's work independently, will get confused. Because you will talk nicely, suddenly God knows what you will talk, you will not be able to understand. And not only that, if you listen to anybody who is the great follower of Ramana Maharshi, if you are not confused, definitely you will get confused. Some of you know very well, many people, especially those who are really very strong Ramana Maharshi's followers, if you try to talk to them, because it is very nice to see them from a distance, they never become close to them. If you are close, that's all. You are completely out. They will eat your brain in such a way, you cannot survive. That's why when I see anybody who is a great follower of Ramana Maharshi, I say, yeah, very good, please continue. Let us not talk anything about Ramana Maharshi nor knowledge, okay? I am here for give me food, I will have food and get out, okay? More than that, let us not talk anything. And I am very clear, okay? Coming back here. Oh, I will stop with this. So that's why Ramana Maharshi was a great man, let us assume man of understanding, with few words. But when it came to the teaching, he could not communicate properly. However, this text that Upadesha Saram is available, that we will be taking, such a beautiful text, wherever things are lacking, especially past few verses are very good. Later on, lot of confusion. So those confusion will take care by teaching. So nothing wrong in seeing it, this text, because as a Pujya Swamiji, in fact, he stumbled upon this text. So when he wanted to take this text, there was a big issue. In fact, he made it popular first. He tried to teach this thing in when he was in Chinmay Mission, in Brahmachari course. Then he used to take this in different yajnas, open public talks, and he was opposed. The Ramana Maharshi group opposed. No, you cannot, because you are talking about teaching. We don't need the teaching, this and that. He said, who are you to stop me? After all, it is a text. I'll take text without talking about your Ramana Maharshi. I don't have anything to do with Ramana Maharshi, but I'll talk about the text. So he said, look, such a beautiful text. It needs really few points have been talked. Let us now talk, and whatever is not there, we'll talk through the teaching. We'll adjust it. And when we are talking about the teaching, we are referring old people, old text and old people. Now the person who has just recently left his body, why can't we take his reference? Such a great person, he has contributed a lot. Now let us now look at that work. But these people wanted to know,